America's soybean farmers, doing good through U.S. soy. We'll meet 5 farm families across America's soy belt, each committed to growing a healthy, sustainable crop. A crop that can be used in so many ways that people call it the miracle bean.
This is the greatest legacy that I have, is this farmland.
We'll discover how soybean growers improve the soil and restore native habitat.
We definitely, as farmers, got to realize that what we do on our farm has effects further downstream.
We'll see how farmers use cutting-edge technology to save water and put fewer inputs in the soil. We'll learn how advances in genetics and biology are creating an ever-growing variety of soybean products for customers around the world. And we'll discover the values shared by farmers and consumers alike, stretching back many generations.
If you're talking about somebody that really cares about the environment and climate, it's farmers.
It's all next on America's Heartland.
America's Heartland is made possible by
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand. In America's heartland, living close to the land.
You already know that American farmers are the most efficient and productive on earth. What you may not know is that they're committed to practices consumers around the world consider most important, like sustainability, soil health, safe food, and other products. That's especially true for America's soybean growers. They're committed to finding new ways to grow better, sharing best practices, and using science and technology to make the soil healthier and more productive. One great example, this family-owned soybean farm and unique soil laboratory in Bowling Green, Missouri.
I mean, when we talk about feeding the world, we're talking about nourishing the world.
Megan Kaiser spends a lot of time thinking about better ways to feed the world. That's why you'll often find this soil scientist out in the soybean fields, taking dozens of samples on her family's 5th-generation farm, or on her husband Mark's 4th-generation family farm down the road.
So you have to start with nutrition somewhere. And if you don't have it at the beginning, you're going to have to add it in somewhere else along the line. But the most efficient way to do it is to make sure that our soil is firing on all cylinders.
That focus on soil health starts in the field, but it continues a long way from here. Those samples and thousands of others sent in by farmers across the U.S. end up at the Perry Agricultural Laboratory. Started by Megan's parents in 1982, this testing facility helps farmers discover exactly what their soil needs to grow the biggest, healthiest crops. It's part of an overall strategy called precision agriculture.
In our instance, precision farming means tracking what we're putting into the soil, what we're taking out, making decisions, overlaying maps to try to figure out yields, what worked, what didn't, and just making sure we're just economically and environmentally friendly.
And then 50.
Correct.
All that precision means a lot of work and a lot of data, with sophisticated equipment analyzing what's in every soil sample and GPS mapping that can analyze every square foot of land. The results help farmers know down to the centimeter what every field needs, all while making sure inputs aren't over-applied.
We can look at productivity of our crop, and then we can look at our water management, our fuel usage, all of our inputs, and we can layer that data to then extract out what was the most profitable and most efficient things that we did, and we can replicate that across the farm.
Ag technology helps make that happen. The data can be sent right out to a farmer in the field. And modern equipment applies farm inputs like fertilizer or the chemicals that protect crops from pests exactly and only where they're needed in precise amounts. But old-fashioned techniques also improve sustainability and soil health. Using cover crops and no-till farming aerates and enriches the soil with healthy microbes and nutrients, and captures or sequesters carbon, preventing it from escaping into the atmosphere. And let's not forget how soy-based fuels, like biodiesel, can reduce air pollution when they're blended with fossil fuels.
So the thought that the soybeans in our fields were producing biodiesel to create better air for children in New York City made me think about my children in rural Missouri and how we have that shared purpose.
Megan and Mark say the goal for them and for the soy farmers they serve is more than maximum yield. It's about sustainability, reflected in the industry's Soy Sustainability Assurance Protocol, essentially a commitment to soy buyers worldwide from more than 300,000 U.S. soybean farmers. It's an assurance that they are following all the guidelines for responsible farming.
We just want to do it right. And I think a lot of the American farmers look at it that way. We just want to maintain what we have and take what we have and make it better for the next generations to come.
It's what we live, think, and breathe. We want healthy air, healthy water, and healthy food choices for them.
Many farmers will tell you it's not the planting and harvesting that take up most of their time and attention. Often it's keeping their crops fed and watered. Let's head to Newport, Arkansas to meet fourth-generation soybean growers using innovative ways to save water, protect the environment, and keep the soil healthy for generations to come.
I grew up, I was taught that you work hard all the time, and I kind of just kept that philosophy. I just raised my boys the same way.
Dennis Hagewood still has memories and photos of his childhood growing up on his dad and uncle's Arkansas farm. Here's Dennis at age 9 driving his first tractor. And this is Dennis today, still farming, but now with sons Derek and Drew, daughter-in-law Shannon, grandsons Sam and Judah, and a whole slew of other relatives carrying on the tradition of hard work and family closeness, now embraced by a fourth generation of Hagewoods.
It's been perfect for me. I'm, just a short distance to all my kids, grandkids. It's been a kind of a dream life for me. That's just the way it is. Good or bad, we're all in on this.
This ground was taken care of the decades before I got a hold of it. And I can promise you one thing, I will take care of it better than anyone else because it means something to me.
Taking care of the ground runs through every season. Drew and Derek look for the ideal time to harvest every soybean field. But their commitment to sustainability begins much earlier in the year, from when the seeds are planted all through the growing cycle. That's when the precision agriculture means the ground in each field is sloped ever so slightly downward to ensure water isn't wasted and there's no runoff of precious soil additives.
So conservation of water is always at the forefront of my mind. Before we plant a field, the number one thing we look at is it ready for irrigation?
Combine that with GPS mapping to make sure just the right amount of nutrients and other inputs are applied. And that means nothing wasted, nothing escaping into the environment.
We practiced sustainability before it was cool. My grandfather's farmed this field. My father has farmed this field. We've been doing that because this is the greatest legacy that I have, is this farmland.
The legacy of the land. Ask any member of the Hagewood family and you'll hear the same sense of affection and devotion started by Dennis's grandfather nearly a century ago.
Someone has asked me, what it's like farming, with your family, and it's one of the most rewarding things is we have a good rapport with each other, and I think it's made us a lot closer.
Just the closeness that you share, going through the trials and then going through the happiness of the rewards at harvest. I love being a part of a farm family.
And so when we talk about a family farm,
we're not just talking about our family right now, we're talking about decades upon decades.
Most of us seek sustainability in our own ways. But how do we make sure our soil is as healthy as it can be? Let's head to Iowa to meet a soy grower who's been on that quest for decades and whose land is now a welcoming home for wildlife.
You know, we've got challenges of feeding a whole world of people. And we can't do it if we let our soils, you know, disappear and disseminate. And so it's been a passion of mine to build my soils back and help mentor other farmers in doing the same.
Iowa soybean farmer Wayne Fredericks seems to feel the same way about soil as President Franklin Roosevelt, who once said, "The nation that destroys its soil destroys itself."
I started farming in 1973. We never farmed the same 2 years in a row. We're always trying something new and different.
Wayne has had to adopt principles like minimizing soil disturbance and maximizing soil biodiversity, sometimes by necessity.
What got us into no-till soybean is that we froze up one winter and we couldn't plow anymore.
Since then, no-till farming has helped Wayne reduce soil erosion and the amount of water needed to cultivate his soybeans and other crops.
It has structure. It has pore space. There's room for water to infiltrate instead of running off. There's room for water to be stored. And look at the color. It's a good dark color. That shows you the organic matter that's in this soil. We rotate corn one year, soybeans the next year. Now, if you notice, we have this green growth out in here. This is our cover crop. This cover crop blend happens to be cereal rye, oats, and kale.
Cover crops, according to Wayne, have decreased the need for herbicides and pesticides while protecting water quality, all for the greater good.
We definitely, as farmers, got to realize that what we do on our farm has effects further downstream.
Water from Wayne's farm drains into the Cedar River, which flows into the Mississippi River. But first, it filters through his wood chip bioreactor.
We divert the water into this bed of wood chips. And the bacteria that want to break down that carbon source of the wood chips pull the nitrogen off of the water. That's a huge benefit.
Wayne also invites numerous wildlife species to his farm by restoring native habitat, which helps pollinate crops and reduce pests.
I remember the seed mix we used here had 52 different species. That habitat is never the same from one year to the next. And plus we're providing a benefit for our pollinators. And we got our pollinator species. And it's full of deer, fawn, and pheasants going back and forth. Farmers are understanding that there's value to doing things different. We have to learn how to farm and maintain our productivity of the soils. You know, learn practices that regenerate these soils and make them more productive and maintain that productive ability. I'd love to have a conversation with any consumer that would want to know more about what we do on the farm, because our sole focus is to produce a quality product, a healthy product, and one that they would be proud to purchase in the store.
We've been discovering how nurturing the soil and saving water drives U.S. soy farmers to grow the world's best beans while protecting the environment. But there's another big factor: seeds. Let's travel to Arkansas to meet a farm family focused on developing soybeans for farmers that are also sustainable ingredients in numerous consumer goods. With soybeans being used for food, feed, fuel, and so much else, it's not surprising they're in such demand from consumers around the world.
Within our own breeding program, I would say no less than 1,000 different varieties that we're testing today.
Brad Doyle and his family know and grow soybeans. Here at Eagle Seeds in Weiner, Arkansas, he and his wife and son study, develop, and sell seed varieties on their 2,200-acre farm. Soybeans for farmers in different states, climates, and soil conditions, so they can grow crops that resist disease, provide maximum yield, and even have different flavor characteristics.
Here we have unclean soybeans straight from the field. This is a GMO variety where we use technology built into the seed to reduce our overall herbicide use. The natto soybean for the Japanese market. And so this would be a higher in sugar, smaller in size. Here we have a black seeded soybean, which is popular in countries such as Thailand.
One key goal of this research is sustainability, long a priority and a practice at this century-old family farm, and aided by the use of cover crops and no-till farming, choices that often result in fewer inputs like herbicides or fertilizer.
Sustainability for our farm is the economic sustainability from one generation to the next, improving the land from the way we received it.
Beyond soil health, sustainability ties closely to protecting the environment, including providing a welcoming habitat for native plants and animals. All the rainfall on the farm is captured to fill this 100-acre reservoir built by the family in the 1980s.
We have waterfowl that use the reservoir in the off-season. We have fish living in the reservoir. There's no telling how much water this reservoir has saved us, groundwater use, over the years.
Brad and his family say they'll continue providing customers an innovative and ever-growing variety of soybeans that reach consumers around the world.
What I grow here on our family farm will provide nutrition for someone here in my home state or someone in a foreign country. And I'm very, very proud of that fact that we help feed the world with U.S. soybeans.
We farm dirt that has become part of us.
Even the hard and unexpected task of repairing a harvester in the middle of a soybean field isn't enough to dampen Roy Bardol's love of the land and the Iowa family farm started by his great-grandfather back in 1901.
Our roots go very deep. They are very long. They are very, very cherished.
Ask Roy's son Tim, grandsons Schuyler and Quill, daughter Cassie, or any of the Bardols, and cherished is the word commonly heard.
I guess I feel sorry for the people that can't work with their families all the time. You know, those are memories that there's no way to replicate, really.
I'm very fortunate and consider myself very lucky that I get to work with my dad, my grandpa, and my uncle at least 6 days a week, if not more.
Much has changed on this 2,000-acre farm since the early days. Modern technology like GPS-guided harvesters and planters means more efficiency with an eye toward sustainability. Yields are double what they used to be. Embracing what's new helped make that happen. But so is doing what's old, like cover crops, good for the soil, good for the environment.
No-till, and especially when you add cover crops to no-till, it's about as close as you come to mirroring the natural environment that was here with the prairies.
Using best practices from the past, combining them with new scientific breakthroughs like GMO seeds, means fewer herbicides and other inputs on the land, a safer environment for all of us.
We live out here. If you're talking about somebody that really cares about the environment and climate, it's farmers, because it's how we make our living. Soybeans are amazing. I don't know of any other plant in the world that you can get so much out of.
Those higher yields also mean an increase in new, remarkable soy products. Everything from more resilient vehicle tires made from soybean oil to enhanced asphalt, and a new soybean-based sealant that better preserves concrete. Many are biodegradable and more environmentally friendly, and often come from research funded directly by America's soybean farmers through the United Soybean Board and investments farmers make in USDA's checkoff program for soy.
The job of the checkoff is to make the U.S. soybean farmer as profitable and competitive in the world as possible.
For the Barjols, it's pride in the product, pride in their family's century-plus history of sustainability, and pride in the prospect of passing along a vibrant farming business to a 7th generation, and perhaps beyond.
I guess my hope is whether my boys or their future children, if they want to farm, that they can. That means making sure that I'm doing things now that enables them to have that opportunity.
We provide a very high quality food, feed, fiber, and fuel off of our ground. I am very proud of that.
That's it for this edition of America's Heartland. To learn more or to give us your feedback, visit americasheartland.org. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on America's Heartland.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's heartland, living close to the land.
America's Heartland is made possible by